Hi crafty people! Welcome back to my channel where today we are going to be making some bunting decoration for this back wall. So far I have decorated this room with a lot of blue and white theme on my Kallax unit and on my little storage system here, and I'm looking forward to adding that extra little touch on this back wall so it looks a little less bare. If you've never been here before, then welcome. My name is Marie and this channel is all about motivating mums to make and mend. Today, the project we'll be making would be great for any sort of room, a playroom, a kid's bedroom, my sewing corner. It's even great as a party decoration. You can do so much with making bunting and it's really easy. I'll be using scrap fabrics that I've got, super affordable and really effective. I hope you enjoy watching, and if you do, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Let's get making!
My mum makes bunting.
Here's a little sneak peek of what it's going to look like at the end. First, we're going to make a template so that we can cut all of our bunting triangles the same size. I have traced my scrap fabric onto this piece of paper and I'm cutting it out to make it into a triangle shape. Then I'll use that triangle to cut out each of my bunting triangles on the fabric. I've already made one, so I'm just testing to make sure that it's the same as the little sample that I've made. I'm going to be cutting them all out this same size. For mine, my measurements were 20 centimeters by 18.5 centimeters, which is 8 inches by 7.25 inches. Social distance, people! Placing two of my scrap fabric squares right sides together, I then trace around my triangle and pin the squares together so that they don't come apart when I am sewing them. If you're not using scrap fabric, then just trace your triangle onto your fabric, turn it around and trace another one so that the sides are butting up against each other. Keep tracing until you get to the edge of your fabric or until you have enough triangles. Cut along the lines and then pin two of your triangles together, right sides facing each other, ready to sew. I then have my two different examples. I'm going to sew a straight stitch along these two longer sides, leaving the top side open so I can flip it in the right way. I've lined up the edge of my presser foot with the line that I've drawn, and I'm going straight down to the tip, putting my needle in and then rotating my fabric so that I can sew a straight stitch up the other side, again lining up the edge of my presser foot with the line that I have drawn. I can now cut along the lines that I've drawn and cut off the tip of the triangle so that when I turn it inside out there's not a bunch of bulk at the tip there, and I'm using a pencil to push the tip out so it's nice and crisp. I do the same process with the triangle that has already been cut, remembering to put my needle down at the tip before I turn and sewing a straight stitch down both of these long sides. time to iron your triangles nice and flat, and then to keep your triangles extra flat once they're hanging, I am top stitching the two edges that I've already sewn closed. Not entirely necessary, but I thought it would look nice. I'm creating my top stitch by running the edge of my fabric through the middle of my presser foot with my needle slightly misaligned so that it's onto the fabric, and just doing a straight stitch up these two sides. Repeat this process over and over and over until you have enough triangles for your bunting. I'm attaching my triangles to a piece of bias binding which I have folded in half and ironed, and I am placing my triangles inside that fold and pinning them in place. You could also attach it to a piece of cord or a ribbon or a scrap piece of fabric, but the reason I've chosen to use bias binding is so that the front and back are both the same, nice and neat. This means that my bunting is now reversible so that I can, if I want to, hang it from somewhere where I can see both the front and back, and it will look nice from both sides. I'm sewing along the edge of my bias binding using the same technique that I did for my top stitch before, where I have the middle of my presser foot lined up with the edge of my bias binding and my needle slightly aligned over so that it is onto the white part of my bias binding. As I'm sewing, I know that I'm catching the back part of my bias binding as well because I ironed it in half, so I'm able to sew the front and the back nice and neatly, making sure that it's all attached correctly. I repeat that same process over and over so that I have all my triangles long enough to fit across the space that I'll be using them. Once you have finished sewing all of your triangles on, it is ready for you to try and hang up. I definitely recommend having an almost 4-year-old come and help you with the hanging up part because their sweet little comments will make you feel a lot better about yourself.
It looks cute.
It looks cute. You look cute.
Wow, that looks beautiful.
Thank you, honey.
We're gonna hang some here.
Thank you for saying it looks beautiful. That's very
We're
nice.
gonna hang here.
I will probably hang that one above this one. Let's do... I'm using command strips to hang up my bunting. I press one on either side of my string so that they attach together, and then peel off the sticky back and stick it onto my cabinet. That way I won't be leaving any marks when I want to take it off again. I'll put a link to these command strips in the description box in case you're interested in using them too. Next, I had the bright idea to add some fairy lights to it, and to be honest, it was a big old hassle and it was quite difficult to work out how to string them along without having to kind of wind it through, but we got there eventually and I think it looks pretty good. Wouldn't recommend though. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed watching the process of me creating this bunting for my back wall, and I hope that you are inspired to make some for your house or a party or some sort of room in your place. If you do make some bunting, I'd love to see. Tag me on Instagram at mymum.marie. And don't forget to like this video to show me that you've enjoyed watching it, and subscribe so that next week you can come back and watch as we make these dribble bibs for Alice. So until next time, get creative and we'll see you later.